You can't arrest me for wearing my uniform. Check my ID. I'm an officer.
The moment felt ordinary. Sergeant Lucas Reed had simply reached for a cold bottle of water. But in the blink of an eye, that ordinary moment shattered. 1 second, he stood inside a quiet corner store. The next, he was on the sidewalk in handcuffs, arrested for nothing more than wearing the uniform he earned. And those officers had no idea who they had just laid hands on. Then it happened. Sirens cut through the air without warning. The calm around Maple Street evaporated. Two police cruisers tore into the gas station lot, tires screeching hard enough to rattle the windows. Inside, people froze mid-motion, fear thick and instant. Lucas stood at the counter, uniform sharp, boots clean, medals gleaming after a long day at Fort McPherson. He was minutes from heading home. Yet something in the air shifted. Two white officers climbed out of the cruisers. One tall with a jaw like stone, Officer Dan Harper. The other shorter and stockier, Officer Greg Simons. Their eyes said the decision had already been made. Hands hovered over holstered weapons as they stormed inside. "Out now! Hands where I can see them!" Harper barked. A woman dropped her chips. Another customer backed away from the lottery machine. Even the cashier ducked. Lucas lifted his hands slowly, confusion knotting in his chest. "What is happening?" he managed. Harper marched straight toward him. "You're being detained for impersonating military personnel." Lucas blinked, stunned. "I am military." Have you ever been accused of something you didn't do and all you could do was stay calm? Before Lucas could say more, Simons grabbed his arm, twisted it back, and snapped the cuffs shut. The bottle rolled across the floor as they dragged him outside. They forced Lucas onto the scorching sidewalk, knees pressed to the concrete as traffic slowed to stare. Phones flew up instantly, people recording, whispering, then wondering. Through it all, Lucas kept his head high. The uniform on his back meant something, and he refused to let panic strip that away. "I'd like to make one phone call," he said steadily. Simon snorted. "To who? Your lawyer?" "No," Lucas replied, voice low but firm. "My commanding officer." The officers exchanged a look, a shrug, and stepped back. "Fine, make it," Harper muttered. Still cuffed, Lucas shifted his weight, fished his phone from his pocket, and tapped one name with his thumb. It rang twice. "Colonel Nathaniel Briggs," a deep voice answered. "Sir, this is Sergeant Reed. I've been detained. They're accusing me of posing as military." A heavy silence followed. Then the colonel's voice landed like a hammer. "Stay exactly where you are. I'm coming." Lucas hung up, lifted his eyes to the officers, and said quietly, "Help is on the way." They laughed. Loud, careless. But their laughter wouldn't last long. 7 minutes later, the gas station atmosphere transformed. Three black SUVs glided into the parking lot. No lights, no sirens, just pure authority. Men in dark suits stepped out, badges shining, every one of them carrying the unmistakable air of high-ranking command. Even the traffic seemed to soften around them. Have you ever seen a moment where the whole world shifts and everyone realizes they misjudged the wrong person? Then the back door opened. Colonel Nathaniel Briggs stepped out, tall, silver hair, medals covering a uniform that demanded respect. He didn't walk, he arrived, and the officers instantly stiffened. He approached calmly and asked, "Which one of you is Harper?" Harper's hand lifted slowly, his bravado fading. Colonel Briggs didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. His presence alone felt like a courtroom, a spotlight, and a verdict all at once. "I'm Colonel Nathaniel Briggs," he said evenly, "and the man you handcuffed is Sergeant Lucas Reed. 11 years of service, countless commendations, and zero blemishes on his record. You put a decorated soldier on the ground in full uniform." Officer Simons swallowed so hard it was visible. We thought he was pretending," he stammered. Briggs' eyes sharpened. "Did you ask for identification?" "No, sir," Simons murmured. "Did you check his badge, his base permit? Even ask his name?" The colonel snapped. Silence. Not even the wind dared move. Tension thickened, the kind of moment where viewers leaned forward. "What would you have said in this situation?" Colonel Briggs stepped closer. "You profiled one of our own, and now both of you are under federal review." A military attorney stepped up, handing over papers, stamped and official. "You are placed on administrative leave, effective immediately," he said. "Hand over your weapons, badges, and radios." Harper's jaw dropped. Wait. This is a misunderstanding." "The misunderstanding," Briggs replied coldly, "is believing you could treat a black soldier like a criminal because of his skin. That ends today." Briggs turned away from the officers and walked toward Lucas, who was still kneeling. "On your feet, Sergeant," he said, lifting him gently. "This never should have happened, and it won't happen again." Cheers broke out from the crowd. Someone clapped above their head. Another shouted, "Finally, justice!" Harper and Simons weren't cuffed, but they were escorted away by internal affairs, heads low, careers collapsing in real time. Lucas stood there, uniform dusty but dignity untouched, and the world was about to hear his story. By the next morning, Lucas's name was everywhere. The video of his arrest, the cuffs, the humiliation, and then the moment Colonel Briggs stepped out of that SUV like judgment itself spread across every platform: Facebook, TikTok, local news, national news. You couldn't scroll 5 seconds without seeing #salute Sergeant Reed plastered across the screen. Camera crews swarmed the gas station. Reporters asked anyone who had been there to replay what they saw. Talk shows debated policing and military respect from sunrise to sundown. Lucas watched it all from his couch, a bowl of cereal in hand, trying to make sense of how fast everything was moving. He hadn't chased attention, but attention had found him anyway. And then the mayor called a press conference. Standing in front of City Hall, microphones crowding her podium, she spoke with a voice that carried across the plaza. "I want to personally apologize to Sergeant Reed," she said. "What happened to him was unacceptable. We have taken immediate action." Then she continued, "Officers Harper and Simons have been terminated. Not suspended, not reassigned, fired." Cheers erupted from the crowd behind her. Some clapped, some shouted praise, and some shook their heads at how long it took for change to happen. Back at home, Lucas didn't smile until the mayor added, "Sergeant Reed represents patience, honor, and grace under pressure. He deserves respect, not suspicion." For the first time since the incident, his shoulders loosened. Justice didn't erase the hurt, but it meant the world was paying attention. And Lucas had no idea his next call would come from the police academy itself. 2 weeks later, Lucas stepped through the doors of the police academy, not as a recruit, not as a guest, but as a man the entire room had been talking about. Rows of young cadets straightened the moment he entered. Some looked nervous, some curious, all of them quiet. Lucas didn't bring notes. He didn't bring a speech. He just walked to the front, looked at the fresh faces watching him, and told the truth. "Before you put on that badge," he said, voice steady, "remember something. Power doesn't make you right. Listening does. Respect does." The room felt like it was holding its breath. You see a black man in uniform. That's not your threat. That's your brother. Ask before you act. Silence stretched, then applause rose slowly, then stronger, until the whole room joined in. It wasn't revenge he came for. It was clarity, and he gave it. Later that evening, Lucas sat on his porch with a glass of sweet tea, watching the sun sink behind the treetops. No cameras, no crowd, no chaos, just quiet. He didn't crave punishment for the officers. He didn't want a spotlight or to trend or to be a symbol. What he wanted was simpler: respect, justice, and to be seen for who he truly was. And he got that. Have you ever had a moment where you realized the fight wasn't about anger, but about dignity? Lucas had lived that moment on a sidewalk in handcuffs and rose above it with calm, steady honor. He didn't just clear his name. He reminded the world what real honor looks like. And sometimes the strongest answer is the one said softly, with dignity that can't be crushed. From the other side of silence, toss stories. Drop a comment and share where you're watching from. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story, because stories like this deserve to be heard. The screen fades, but Lucas's message doesn't.